Welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the program. It's the Wednesday edition of the show. We are sitting a block away from a courthouse where 24 hours ago, 3 men who claimed to be officers of Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, otherwise known as ICE, stampeded into a Charlottesville courthouse wearing plain clothes. One of the men completely masked, like he had a mask on his face. 3 plainclothes men, one of them wearing a mask. They had no identification on them, badges, any kind of branding that said they were from ICE. They had no paper documentation, nothing that acknowledged they were employed by the Immigration of Customs Enforcement, ICE. They stampeded into a Charlottesville courthouse, and I'm going to use the word kidnap. I guess you can call it abducted. Maybe you call it captured. From my standpoint, this is kidnapping, and we're going to show the video to you, viewers and listeners. And they dragged 2 Hispanic men out of a Charlottesville courthouse. One of the Hispanic men that was in this courthouse yesterday, 24 hours ago, had the charges against him dismissed. So he was walking out the courthouse as an innocent man when he was dragged and kidnapped by plainclothed, masked men out of the courthouse.
I don't know that that's entirely relevant.
I'm not sure why you're interrupting there, but which part is not entirely relevant that I just said?
The charges in the courthouse.
You don't think it's relevant? And are you on a 2-shot, or are you just talking here as the voice of God?
We're on a 2-shot.
Okay. You don't think it's relevant that one of the 2 men had the charges against him completely dismissed? He's walking out of the courthouse with the mindset, I am a free man now. I don't have these charges hanging over my head. And then 3 men enter the courthouse wearing plain clothes, one of them with a mask on, and take him into a nondescript, unmarked van and drive him to God knows where? I think it's important to emphasize that one of the 2 men was completely innocent, and the second man was in court paying a fee tied to driving under the influence. I'm not marginalizing DUI in any capacity, okay? I'm not marginalizing DUI, but the second Hispanic man that was in the courthouse was not facing charges of murder,
right,
or grand larceny, or anything tied to children or weapon use. Okay, I think it is important to highlight, and we're getting in the weeds here. We're getting in the weeds. This is not the main topic. The main topic is 3 men went into a Charlottesville courthouse. You make your point why you think it's not important to highlight that one of the 2 men was innocent, okay? I think that is beyond the conversation here. The conversation in the video that we're going to show is 3 men entered a courthouse in Charlottesville wearing plain clothes. One of the men had a mask on covering his face.
A balaclava.
They had no you call it a balaclava. I don't think anyone in the world knows what that means.
Or a ski mask.
It's a mask.
Okay.
It's a mask. His face was hidden by a mask.
I'm going to put you back on a 1-shot.
Okay, no, we'll have a 2-shot. His face was hidden by a mask. Okay, let's just use terminology that everyone understands. His face was hidden by a mask. They walked into a courthouse and they took 2 men and they threw them into a van, and they did not have to show any documentation, nor did they have to have any badges on their person or any identifying branding tied to the law enforcement agency that they were working for. We are now living in a world, 100 and some days into Donald Trump's 2nd term, where plain-clothed men, one wearing a mask, can go into a courthouse that is supposed to be protected by the sheriff, by the Albemarle County Sheriff, by law enforcement, local law enforcement, and these plainclothes men can say, hey, I work for ICE, these people are coming with me, I'm not going to show any documentation whatsoever, I don't have to have a badge on, and I'm going to throw you into this nondescript van, this unmarked van, and I'm going to take these people anywhere I want. I'm going to ask these questions. Are we setting a precedent in America today where anyone can say they're ICE, basically impersonate ICE and start kidnapping people in Charlottesville, in Albemarle County, in Fluvanna County, Orange County. Furthermore, are we in a America today, a Charlottesville today, and an Albemarle County today, where if you have to go to court, where you want to go to court to fight for your freedom and fight for your innocence, you want to challenge that speeding ticket, and you want to ask the police officer if their odometer has been calibrated, or if you want to challenge a divorce or stand up for yourself when you're going through a divorce or some kind of other legal proceeding that's against you, and you want to have your day in court to make an argument to fight for your civil liberties and your freedom. Are we now in a world today where you're hesitant to do that, to stand up for your civil liberties, your rights, because you fear you're going to be captured and kidnapped in a courtroom by plainclothes men and unmarked men and mask-wearing men who claim to be tied to ICE? And look, I'm not going to make this about Republican or Democrat or Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, okay? I will make it about the first 100 days of Donald Trump's term. And in the first 100 days, roughly 100 days we're in, 120 days, whatever the exact number is. It's a rough number, okay? We have seen a lot of crazy stuff. We have literally the stock market riding a roller coaster, trading at the whim of one man making commentary in front of the media. Yesterday, after hours, Donald Trump makes commentary to select media saying he's not going to fire Jerome Powell. And because of that off-the-cuff remark, he says, I'm not going to fire the chair of the Federal Reserve. Stock market goes bananas, and it's green today. 2 days prior, Donald Trump was saying, I'm going to smear Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Donald Trump is saying Powell's a D-bag. He's calling him every name in the book. He's trying to bully him in the media so he drops rates. Yesterday, he does an about face and says, no, I'm not going to keep him. I'm going to keep him around. I'm going to keep him around. So in the first 100 and some days, markets are trading based on the commentary of one man. In the first 100 days, we have the Department of Immigration and Customs Enforcement having the autonomy and the power to go into courthouses across our country and to detain and kidnap people. Geez Louise, we got a lot to cover on today's program. You got that video ready to go? And I want to hear your commentary here, J-Dubs. I want to hear your commentary. I want the viewer and listener to see what we're talking about. If you haven't seen this, giddy up and get ready. I find this absolutely disgusting, what we're about to watch. And I'm going to explain to you why. Not only disgusting, I find it dangerous, I find it disheartening, I find it disturbing, demoralizing, depressing. This is 24 hours ago, 1 block from where I sit in downtown Charlottesville. 3 men, one of them masked, all of them plain-clothed, raiding a courthouse in Charlottesville and essentially kidnapping 2 Hispanic men, dragging them out and throwing them into an unmarked van, taking them to God knows where. This is in Charlottesville, ladies and gentlemen. Judah Wickhauer, play that video in 3, 2, 1.
Excuse me, you cannot impede me on my lawful duties. That is a crime. Do you understand? Do not touch me or impede me in my lawful duties, ma'am. Do you understand? It is a crime for you to do so.
Why? Do you have a warrant
Senor,
for his arrest? Do you have a warrant for his arrest?
Yes.
Where?
Hey,
Warrant.
grab him.
The warrant for his arrest. Warrant signed by a
Get
judge.
off me or I am calling the U.S. attorney and prosecuting you for assault on a federal officer.
Show us the warrant
Back
for his
up.
arrest. Show us a warrant signed by a judge.
Turn him around.
You don't have a warrant.
Sir.
Show us a warrant for his arrest.
We are officers with Homeland Security.
You don't have a warrant signed by a judge.
All right, señor Dominguez. No se preocupe.
You don't have to.
Perfecto.
No
Gracias,
necesitas
señor.
decirle nada,
Okay.
no necesitas decirle nada sin abogado.
Got it?
No
Okay.
firme nada sin abogado.
Everybody ready? Yep. Let's go out, please. Vamos, señor, por favor, síganme. Yes. I'll do it first. Just everybody make sure we got it here. We got the phone?
That is terrifying. How do you describe what you just saw? Viewers and listeners, regardless of the side of the aisle you fall on, regardless of Republican or Democrat, Libertarian, Socialist, you vote, you don't vote, who gives a rat's ass? How do you describe what you just saw? I describe it as absolutely terrifying. And why I think it's terrifying is because of the precedent it sets, where now anyone can claim that they're ICE henchmen wearing plain clothes and a mask and try to potentially kidnap you, even if it's for nefarious reasons and not for immigration reasons. I find it extremely concerning because I fear folks will be less inclined to have their time in court with legal representation, without legal representation, in front of a judge, in front of a jury, in front of prosecutors. They'll choose not to fight for their rights, their liberties, because of fear of being listed on some kind of legal docket and having ICE henchmen scour dockets to try to capture them, kidnap them, and take them away. Instead, men and women may say, good night, I'm not going to fight for that liberty. I may just pay the fine. I may just go through this divorce. I may not challenge the radar calibration. I may not challenge this interpretation of the law. I may not challenge that grainy video footage, that grainy photo footage, or that witness's account of what really happened. I may not offer my alibi. I may not say where I really was on the day when the police or that judge or that attorney says something different, because I fear my name being on a docket and ICE dragging me out of there. And I really would like to know why we have not heard comments on the record from Albemarle County Sheriff Chan Bryant. Albemarle County Police Department has completely distanced itself from ICE. The police department has said, per our existing policy and practice, the Albemarle County Police Department does not inquire into the immigration status of victims or witnesses. That's what a police spokesman told the Daily Progress. The police department said, while Albemarle County Police Department collaborates with home security investigations and ICE on significant cases such as homicide, sexual assaults, and child exploitation investigations, we do not have the legal authority to enforce federal immigration laws. I understand that. But why has Albemarle County Sheriff Chan Bryant not offered some commentary on what happened yesterday? Chan Bryant oversees the security of county courthouses. Why have we not heard a comment from Chan Bryant? Do we need official commentary from Commonwealth's attorneys Jim Hingley and Joe Plantania on this? These are the questions I have. Heather Lamont Walker, her photo on screen, and then Judah Wickhauer, we'll get to your take. She says in the comments, Where was the security? Yes, it was scary. No communication. That mask was not the standard issue. Kevin Yancey says, stop sugarcoating it. No other president has or would do what he has done. Heather Lamont Walker hopes the deputies knew the men were ICE. She hopes that courtroom security would know that ICE law enforcement was there. Hope is a powerful word, but a very ambiguous word, a very uncertain word. Hope is not something that I do business upon. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says this, it's not relevant if he's here illegally. They are masked for their protection. They are targeted by gangs as well as their families. It's always been done this way. The sheriff's office was most likely notified. Janice Boyce Trevelyan highlights the mask wearing of ICE is to protect the henchmen with ICE from being targeted after the fact. I don't buy that. I respect JBT's opinion on this program significantly. Janice, I do. I don't buy the mask wearing is for protecting the henchman and the henchman's family after the fact. Judah Wickhauer, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I will not interrupt you on this in any capacity.
I mean, this is obviously very troubling. And I understand what Janice is saying about the masks, but when you look at the man in the video wearing the mask, he looks like he just stepped off the campus at UVA, and I mean he's got a backpack with a like sea green water bottle. He is not a person I would trust to be arresting anyone, and I think what's even more troubling than the mask is the fact that they're not showing any paperwork. I don't care about the mask. The mask is terrifying in a way, but I understand the point that she's making. The problem is if in this case it's only one masked man, but if a group of masked people came and tried to take someone in your household or in your business without showing a badge, without showing a warrant, I would think that would end up causing more trouble. I mean, how long before somebody who is legally carrying pulls out a gun and says, no, if you don't show me a warrant, you're not putting someone in handcuffs and taking them out to your white unmarked van. I mean, that's how people disappear forever. I would not allow that to happen in my presence if I could potentially stop it.
When are we at the point where unmasked men come to your house? I'll
Masked
rephrase.
or unmasked?
I'll rephrase. Thank you. When are we at the point where unmasked men or masked men come to your house in plain clothes without paper documentation, claiming to be ICE officials, and cuffing you and dragging you into an unmarked van to take you to a location that you have nowhere you are going to? When are we at the point where your response to that is, I don't trust you are in fact ICE, I think you are criminals with nefarious intentions, and my response is to stand up and protect myself and my family and utilize force in doing so, including the use of a gun. If someone goes to your house, if this can happen in a courtroom, if someone goes to your house in Charlottesville, 3 men, one of them wearing masks, forces their way in, uses force, alpha dog tactics, are you within your rights to respond with a gun in your house? I have that. Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
And look, I'm not going to make this about, it's not a show that's about politics here. But 100 and some days into the second term, and look at how much Charlottesville and Albemarle County have been affected already. The University of Virginia, hiring freezes, no cost of living raises, no performance-based bonuses, no spending tied to research or any discretionary spending. And now the talk at the University of Virginia is pay cuts because federal funding is being frozen, potentially pulled altogether. At the same time, the Board of Visitors are cutting spending. We're about to relay a story to you about the Federal Executive Institute. The city of Charlottesville wants to buy this building for its public school system. Mm-hmm. The Federal Executive Institute, as of 5 months ago, had people in it working for the federal government. Now it's a shell, it's empty, and the city may purchase it for its public school system and for its preschool use. Mm-hmm. That story's coming up. We got people kidnapped from courthouses, probably gone through metal detectors to do this kidnapping. We have, ladies and gentlemen, and it's trivial in comparison, but not really, it's your retirement, a Loch Ness Monster, Big Bad Wolf, Alpengeist, Apollo's Chariot stock market with a nod to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg and its roller coasters. Every day it's something new. You talk about trading earnings report? No, it's not trading earnings report. You talk about trading on product releases? You talk about trading on manufacturing? No, it's not about product releases. It's trading the commentary of one man and what he has to say on that given day and how he feels. Yesterday after hours, Trump makes the comment, I'm not going to fire Jerome Powell. What's weird about that is the day before that, he was calling Jerome Powell a D-bag. He was smearing Jerome Powell. He was saying he's the worst Fed chair in history, saying all the nasty stuff possible about the chair of the Federal Reserve to try to bully him into lower rates. Then yesterday after hours, after calling him a D-bag and smearing him, Trump says, well, you know what? I'm not going to fire him. Then the markets rally. Is that how we're investing now? Is that how we invest now? Is that how we're going to invest over the next 4 years? And then I'll add this, and you jump in, and then I'll go to you, the viewer and listener. If you had to pay a traffic ticket, or you wanted to fight a speeding ticket, I remember 8-10 years ago, I got a speeding ticket. And I had the speeding ticket dropped because I didn't pay the fine. I said I wanted my time in court. And I went before the judge. He called my name up there. And I said, sir, I'd like to see the calibration certification. I want to make sure the radar is within its calibration window. And the calibration certification was not. And my speeding ticket was dropped. Was I speeding? Yes. Was I going too fast? Absolutely. But the law says the radar must be calibrated over a set period of time. And I asked the judge to see it. That was my only defense. And I got lucky because that time the radar was not calibrated. And the speeding ticket was dismissed. No fee, no fine, nothing. I could have just paid the couple $100 in fines and court costs for the ticket. But I said, you know what? I got a little time this morning. Why don't I see it? And I won. Are people going to be less likely to do that? Are folks less likely to stand up for what they believe is right because they fear masked men, plainclothes men, will throw them in an unmarked van and drive them God knows where? And geez Louise, hell's bells, Judah. We're 100 and some days into the 4-year term. Mm-hmm. Kevin Yancey, the video was shot by someone in the courtroom. It was obtained by the Daily Progress. We aired it, and we included a courtesy while airing the video, highlighting that the Daily Progress showed it on its site. Holly Foster is watching in Henrico. She says, "This is outrageous. Did they have a badge to show who they were? This crap has to stop. If people are going to be arrested, have a proper police person handle it. This could happen to any of us if we don't watch out." Bingo, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll paint a very scary story, a very scary scenario. You ready for this one? Mm-hmm. Wealthy person walking down the street on Preston Avenue, on Market Street, on the downtown mall. 3 men go up to him, claiming to be ICE, wearing masks and plain clothes within close proximity of a white unmarked van. Tell whoever's around the wealthy person, "We are ICE. We can do this. Don't touch us. Get out of our way. If you touch us, you're breaking the law." They cuff the man. They cuff the woman. They drag the man. They drag the woman into the unmarked van, and they leave. We are left asking, were they ICE or not? But our human nature is to hesitate, because the more we see videos like this, the more we start thinking, maybe they are in fact ICE. I remember on Tuesday, April 22nd, in that Charlottesville courthouse, I saw a video on the I Love CVille show that they did this, so they must be ICE. I should not intervene. I should do nothing. That's terrifying. Mm-hmm. That is terrifying. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Put them in the feed. We will relay them live on air. Judah Wickower, perspective from you before we go to these comments that are coming in.
I mean, I'm not sure what more I can add. I think that I don't have a problem with ICE finding and detaining illegal aliens, and but this is not the way to do it, and certainly not without proper paperwork, and it does set a precedent that I pray we don't become used to masked people pulling people off the street and no one does anything. In fact, I want to applaud the especially the woman in the video, but the people who are standing in the way of these people, because until you're shown a badge and a warrant, I would hope that if somebody came for me, the people around me would stop them.
Yeah, you know why they would stop them if people were trying to kidnap you?
I don't, but...
If you were on the downtown mall and you were walking and 3 people in plain clothes wearing a mask tried to kidnap you and throw you into an unmarked van that was close by, do you want to know the very sad truth of why bystanders would intervene and keep you from getting kidnapped?
Probably because I'm white and don't look like someone that should be
because you're
detained.
a white male.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let that register. Think about that, viewers and listeners. Let that register. This comment comes in from someone who's watching the program that's asking for some discretion. I am surprised none of these agents have gotten shot. I can imagine that if I had a concealed carry permit and some random people came at me with no warrant, ... Bingo. And then think about the Pandora's box we are left with if one of these ICE henchmen ended up getting clipped. Mm-hmm. the person that did the shooting is going to say, I thought I was being kidnapped. They had no paperwork, no badges, no documentation, no uniform branding, and that van over there had no branding or markings on it either. I was just trying to protect myself and stand up for myself.
It's only a matter of time.
Don't I have the right to protect myself if someone's trying to attack me? Well, then who's going to think about that case in court? Worst case scenario would be if this happens at someone's house and your wife and kids are there. Jeez. And this just happened in Charlottesville. And this just happened in Charlottesville. And I'll say it again. This just happened in Charlottesville, in our town, 1 block from where I'm sitting, in a town of less than 50,000 people, and what we think is our Mayberry, what we think is our Brady Bunch, what we think is our Teflon, best place to live in America, best place to retire in America, 9th most restaurants in the country in America per capita, best music scene in America, best hiking in America, best outdoors in America, one of the best college sports towns in America. What's all the monikers we have? Can we have all those monikers if people are just getting kidnapped out of courthouses and thrown in unmarked vans in front of sheriffs when their case was dismissed and they thought they were walking out of the courthouse a free man? What is the emotional roller coaster ride this Hispanic gentleman was going through, Judah? He goes to court facing a charge of assaulting his roommate. After going through the legal proceedings yesterday, the Hispanic gentleman has his case dismissed, and he's walking away from the judge, turning down the aisle after saying, "Thank you, Your Honor," in broken English, walking to the swinging doors as he's leaving the courtroom, thinking, my case was dismissed. I am free to go. And as he exits the courtroom and heads to the foyer, pushes his way through the swinging doors, with the judge now looking at his back, 30 yards tops away from the judge, a masked man cuffs him and drags him out in front of innocent bystanders who are screaming, asking for badges and documentation. That happened yesterday. And the best place to live in America, Charlottesville, Virginia. Kevin Yancey says, welcome to 1930s Germany. That's from Waynesboro's Kevin Yancey. Curtis Shaver and Logan Wells Claylo, welcome to the show. I'll close my commentary with this. I am completely on board for America, for the Commonwealth, for Central Virginia, for Albemarle County, for Charlottesville, to focus on making sure the folks in our country are documented and entered our country the right way. I am all for that. I'm all for that. We need to get a better feel on who's in this country legally and illegally for safety purposes, for security purposes. How we're going about doing that enforcement, there's ways to it. And this ain't it. And this ain't it. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow asking myself, what's the next impact that my home is going to feel, that Charlottesville and Albemarle County are going to feel? Is it our 401ks and our retirement accounts trading on the cusp or trading on the whim of commentary from one person? Is it the number one employer in our region cutting people's salaries and their pay? Is it the second driver of the economy, the government sector, the spies, the injics, seeing mass layoffs? What's the impact the lumber and the tariffs is going to have on housing and real estate and new construction and the labor associated with housing and building new construction? How's that going to drive up the cost of living? How will our schools be impacted by federal funding? How will our nonprofits be impacted by federal funding? How will our housing affordability initiatives be impacted by federal funding or lack thereof? What are we going to wake up to tomorrow? We're 100 and some days in. What's the next headline on Wednesday, April 23rd? A glorious and gorgeous day in downtown Charlottesville for some of us. What's the next headline? Judah Wickhauer.
The at-large seat or the Executive Institute building?
Let's go to the at-large seat. Neil Williamson's got some comments here. The president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Love Neil Williamson. Great guy. Smart guy. Was on Facebook earlier today. Saw the co-chair of Livable Charlottesville, Matthew Gillikin, lamenting why Albemarle County doesn't have an at-large seat, a 7th seat. It's got 6 districts, Albemarle County. It's got the Rio district. Let's see if I can bang these out. In fact, I know I can bang them out. Can you bang out the 6 districts of the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, Judah? Not to put you on the spot.
No.
You got the Rio district. You got the Scottsville district. You got the Samuel Miller district. You got the Whitehall district. Jack Jewett district. And then you got Diantha McKeel's district, the Rivanna. 6 districts. We've done it this way all along. 6 districts, Albemarle County. Livable Charlottesville's lamenting, why don't we have an at-large seat, a 7th seat to represent the county in totality? Says 6 seats is bad. Says 6 seats creates gridlock. If you have 6, you have to have a supermajority of 4 to get anything done. 3-3, if it's a 3-3 vote, nothing happens. Whatever they're talking about, the vote is no if it gets tied 3-3. You need 4 for something to happen. You got the activists in the city of Charlottesville, the activists who live in the city of Charlottesville, now trying to do activism in Albemarle County. The same activists that created a new zoning ordinance, an NZO, that's dog-do. A new zoning ordinance that's tied up in court. Plaintiffs suing the city. A city that doesn't have an attorney. A lawsuit that's still going on. Even if the plaintiffs lose the lawsuit, they're going to appeal. They're going to say Judge Worrell shouldn't be over this lawsuit. He lives in the city. His wife is a housing activist. Conflict of interest. We got years of this lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen, and years of standstill with this new zoning ordinance. An ordinance led by activists in the city. Now they've screwed that up. Now they're turning their attention to Albemarle County. The activism is we should have 7 people on the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County because then you can have a 4-3 vote and something will happen. There will be no ties. That's their take. I push back on that. You know why I push back on that? You know how I push back on that? I push back with facts. And you know what the facts are? You know what the facts are, Judah?
Nope.
The activists say if you have an at-large seat in the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, the county is extremely blue. So the likelihood of you having a 7th person in that seat being a Democrat means Democrat policies would be pushed forward. And you know what? That is the truth. But here's the reality. Every single person on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors is already Democrat.
Yeah.
You have a board that's dominated by Democrats. That's historically been dominated by the Albemarle County Democratic Party. The county bleeds blue. Having an extra seat, you're just going to have 7 Democrats instead of 6. Why does an extra seat matter, activists in the city of Charlottesville that are now trying to infiltrate Albemarle County with your activism? You already have the Democrats in control of the board, in control of potential housing policy, and expanding the designated growth area, and spending more money on housing affordability. One of the reasons they're raising the tax rate 4 cents, they're talking about it, is housing affordability initiatives. Of course, another reason is they want more fire, police, and rescue. I find it distasteful and out of touch to raise the tax rate at this time when our economy is showing signs of cracking locally. I told you earlier in this week, I've been here 25 years, and I've never seen such vulnerability in the Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia economies. I pointed to UVA's headwinds. I pointed to the defense sector, the government sector, the spies, the headwinds there. I pointed to assessments being out of control, credit card debt being out of control, groceries being out of control. Family of 4, my wife and I, a 7-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, go to grocery shopping for 1 week, $300 plus bill for groceries. What do you get? Fraction of what you had before COVID. Has anyone seen gasoline tick down to the low 2s or high 1s? Nah, it's flirting with $3 a gallon. Raise the tax rate. Give me a 7th guy in the Board of Supervisors. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. The board is already controlled by the party you're trying to get an extra seat for. You disagree?
No.
What? Tell me, I trust you. Tell me what a 7th seat would do.
I think it would provide for the off chance that there is a division in belief or in what they would like to push through the council. You know
what Ned Galloway said?
I don't.
Ned Galloway said it on the I Love CVille network while sitting at this table, the Rio District, Albemarle County Board of Supervisor, who's pursuing a 3rd term. He's in the middle of closing his 2nd term. It's an election year. Looks like he's going to run unopposed in the Rio District. Ned Galloway's a good guy. He said, you know what 6 people on the Board of Supervisors does? It makes, for us to get to 4 votes to pass something, it makes us to have to really explain to the people that are on the fence, that are on the dais, of why this is important. And he has said that is good governance and good democracy. When you have to get to 4, you have to really be nuanced in what you're voting for and why this is truly beneficial for the county in totality. And he says getting to that number 4, the difficulties with getting to that number 4, makes for good governance.
It's a good point.
It's a great point. And it's a great point from a Democrat. The whole board is. What's the last Republican on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors? Do you know?
I do not.
Do you, viewers and listeners? I do. Ken Boyd, the last one, the financial planner. Ken Boyd. John Blair on LinkedIn. Jerry, there's a 1990 Virginia Court of Appeals opinion, Grays versus Commonwealth, that states an officer's failure to display a badge is not a Fourth Amendment violation. I didn't know that. There's a 1990 Virginia Court of Appeals opinion, Grays versus Commonwealth, that states an officer's failure to display a badge is not a Fourth Amendment violation.
What about a warrant?
What about any paper documentation at all? What about any documentation at all, John, out of curiosity? We're learning from you here. Furthermore, I thought we lived in, and this is just a layman speaking, okay? This is just a average Joe asking questions, okay? I thought we weren't allowed to walk around and wear masks. During COVID, didn't they have to make some changes, or didn't they have to change some stuff legally to allow us to wear masks? Prior to COVID, wasn't the law that you could not wear masks in Charlottesville and Albemarle County and elsewhere? Am I wrong in remembering that?
And that was part of the reason why people got pepper sprayed on the UVA campus.
Yeah. When was it when was it legally and the attorneys that are watching the program, if Mr. Hingley's watching the show, I would love to know what he likes to watch the show. Jimda would love to hear from Mr. Hingley here. When did it become completely legal to wear masks? And it wasn't just a mask this guy was wearing. And this is where you can use the exact terminology. I apologize where I cut you off. Is it baklava, the Greek dessert that he was wearing on his face?
It's pronounced balaclava, I think, but it's essentially a ski mask. It's a mask that goes over your head and covers all of your face except like your eyes.
This is not just a COVID mask.
Right.
That covers your mouth and your nose like you see in the hospital. This guy legitimately had his entire face, neck, the back of his head, the top of his head, and it draped down his chest and the back of his back and kind of touched his shoulders. I mean, this was like...
This is
a condom for his face.
He looks like military, at least his head does, and then you scan down, and he looks like a fraternity bro. Just an odd mix. And then there's the pink shirt guy who looks like it kind of looks like a hippie. The whole thing is just incredibly odd, and the worst part is that they're not showing ID or a warrant. That's the most troubling to me, is that how long will it be until opportunistic I don't want to swear. Opportunistic people start following this trend. Just, put on a mask.
My whole point.
I know.
How long till every Tom, Dick, and Harry is wearing a baklava all over Charlottesville and is throwing people into O.J. Simpson's van? Let me go find some baklavas and wear them and say I'm ICE and throw people into a sketchy O.J. Simpson van. Mm-hmm. It's not a perfect reference because the baklava is a Greek dessert and O.J. Simpson drove a Ford Bronco.
Yeah, it's a balaclava.
Say that 3 times fast.
If you want me to.
I bet you can't.
Balaclava, balaclava, balaclava.
Very well done. Baklava, baklava, baklava. We kid, but we shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Neil Williams says he shares 2 links on the I Love CVille group. John Blair's got a response comment that I'm going to get to next. He says, here's a pull quote from 2012 post from the Free Enterprise Forum research. He says, the Free Enterprise Forum researched the 16 localities in Virginia that are frequently used by Albemarle County for benchmarking purposes. Of these localities, all but one, Prince William, have an odd-numbered construct of their governing body. He's in favor of the 7. Are you, Neil, you're in favor, I think, of the 7? The point I made against Gillikin in his Facebook post is he highlights that having the 7th would, I'll read it verbatim. This is the co-chair of Livable CVille. This is the guy that was led the charge on the new zoning ordinance in the city of Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. This organization drove the new zoning ordinance in the city of Charlottesville, a new zoning ordinance that is costing taxpayers obscene amount of money as we're paying a third-party law firm to defend the city in a lawsuit against plaintiffs that are not going to back the F down. The plaintiffs in this lawsuit are here to stay. If anyone thinks this is going to be resolved anytime soon, you're huffing glue. And they're going to appeal if Worrell votes against them by saying this judge shouldn't have been involved in this case because of conflict of interest. The co-chair of Livable CVille says, keep in mind, too, Albemarle is pretty consistently about 2/3 Democrat in elections. An at-large seat would be filled by someone selected by the Democratic majority to put in good, Democratic-friendly policies. What world is this? Well, he lives in the city. That's why, maybe he doesn't understand that Albemarle County is not 2/3 Democrat. Every single person that's on the board is a Democrat.
Yeah.
Every single one. Mm-hmm. The last Republican to serve on the Board of Supervisors was Ken Boyd. Albemarle County. Stay in your lane, dude. Stay in your lane. Albemarle County, Ken Boyd, supervisor. I should know this. When was the last time Ken Boyd was a Board of Supervisor? The last Republican, Ken Boyd, served 3 terms. He's a financial planner. Albemarle County, he was a supervisor, first on the school board. In 2003, Boyd ran successfully for the seat on the Board of Supervisors. He was elected in 2011 as well. So we're talking, 10 years? I'm doing this on the fly here. I apologize. I should know this. 10 years is the last time a Republican's been on the board? And this 2/3 number is ridiculous. All right, it's 1:30 marker. We don't need any of this crazy wackadoo Charlottesville activism in Albemarle County. What has the crazy wackadoo activism done for the city? Seriously. We're still doing the Buford School reconfiguration. The money that was earmarked for the West Main Streetscape project, the free money that we were going to get from the Commonwealth.
It was given back.
And the free money that we were going to get from UVA to redo West Main Street, the West Main Streetscape, one of the most important gateways in the city of Charlottesville, the connector between the University of Virginia and downtown, arguably the most important connector in the city of Charlottesville, got a boatload of free money. That boatload of free money wasn't utilized.
Yep.
Because activists said this is a waste of money. We should reconfigure the Buford Middle School. That thing's still going on. All the kids that were going to get help by this school reconfiguration, guess what? They've graduated.
Yeah.
And if they haven't graduated, they've been gentrified out of their neighborhoods and out of their houses. And the people that have replaced them, they're baby boomers. They don't got kids in schools. The people that have replaced them, they're super deluxe wealthy. They got kids in private schools. The people that have replaced them, they don't look like the kids that were going to get the upside of the school reconfiguration. Activism did that. What else has the activism done? Oh, let's make this zoning the most radical zoning code in American history. Let's not be mindful of studies and traffic and infrastructure. And once we pass it, if you create it, if you build it, they will come. Nothing has come. Nothing has come. Not a single project of merit has come. You got a granny flat and a basement apartment in Locust Avenue and one in Belmont. Nothing has come. All it's done is cost us money and a lawsuit, taxpayer money. A city doesn't have an attorney on staff. Third-party representation. I'm told, and that last face-to-face with Worrell in the courtroom, that the plaintiffs were on one side watching the city's third-party representation and just taken aback with how idiotic their representation was, the city's third-party representation. The plaintiffs were over there snickering, saying, this guy's a clown. He's losing. And Worrell cut the dude off. Exact words I heard from the courtroom. John Blair says, here is a link to the Virginia statute which criminalizes mask wearing. You'll note that there are some exceptions. It would be up to the individual to prove that one of the exceptions apply. And he shared a link. Let's see it. I'm doing this on the fly here. Some of this stuff, it's easier for me to do on the fly. There are prohibition of wearing masks in certain places. There are exceptions. It shall be unlawful for any person over 16 years of age to, with the intent to conceal his identity, wear any mask, hood, or other device whereby a substantial portion of the face is hidden or covered so as to conceal the identity of the wearer to be or appear in any public place or upon any private property in the Commonwealth without first having obtained from the owner or tenant thereof consent to do so in writing. However, the provisions of this section shall not apply to persons, 1, wearing traditional holiday costumes. Okay, that's Halloween. 2, engaged in professions, trades, employment, or other activities, and wearing protective masks which are deemed necessary for the physical safety of the wearer or other persons. Okay. If you're doing some steel welding, you might want to wear a protective mask so the fire sparks don't burn your nose tips and your eyelashes and your skin, your tongue. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm with that. 3, engaged in any bona fide theater production or masquerade ball. Okay, you want to go to live arts and you want to do some Romeo. Do they wear masks in Romeo and Juliet? You want to go live? You want to go to live arts and you want to watch The Great Gatsby? And you want to watch, what's his name? Joel Gatsby? Is that Joel?
Joel Gatsby?
Are you with me? You want to go live arts and you want to go watch The Great Gatsby and you want to watch them live it up? Okay, they can wear some masks. Cool. Other exceptions. Wearing a mask, hood, or other device for bona fide medical reasons. Okay, you can wear a mask if you have a hard time breathing. If you're snoring in bed and you got to wear a mask and that's going to clear up your snoring so your partner can sleep, okay. The advice of a licensed physician carrying a person. I want to see where it's completely illegal I want to see where the state statute says this. There's an exception to mask wearing. You can wear a baklava, you can go into a court, you can kidnap a Hispanic man that just had charges dropped and dismissed completely of him. You can wear plain clothes. You can have a JanSport backpack on, and you can have a green Yeti tucked into the sleeve of the JanSport backpack, and you can kidnap the Hispanic man who just had his charges dropped against him, and you can throw him into a white marked van. You don't have to have a badge on. You don't have to have any paper documentation, and you can take him anywhere he wants. Because that just happened 24 hours ago. No, 28 hours ago. It's 1:30 now. Damn baklavas. Stupid baklavas. Are we going to save the last topic to tomorrow? What is the last topic? I'm all fired up today. Feel for the man's family. I feel for the man's family. What is the man's family going through right now? Seriously. What are the two men's family going through now? Where are our family members? And who took them?
No doubt.
All right, we'll save this to tomorrow. The city of Charlottesville wants to buy the Federal Executive Institute building that just closed down. And the city of Charlottesville wants to weave it into Charlottesville public school system. This release just came out. Charlottesville City Schools have submitted an application to the U.S. Department of Education to acquire the Federal Executive Institute campus. This is a big campus. Donald Trump signed an executive order closing the facility. The Federal Executive Institute was created in 1968 by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. Charlottesville City wants to buy this for the Charlottesville public school system. And it wants to do it to try to improve the infrastructure around its early education programs, its preschool programs. Charlottesville City issued a release saying the public school system would use money that was already allocated for the consolidation of the preschool from 6 separate sites into one. This is actually a good idea. I'm actually going to give Charlottesville props on this. I hope they get this.
Yeah.
I hope the city gets this. Sam Sanders, the city manager, called this a generational opportunity for the city. I hope the city is able to get the Federal Executive Institute building. I mean, granted, it could go into, what if it goes into up? Who would not want to buy this if you had the opportunity to buy it with that location?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. For Judah Wickower, who, do you like baklava?
It's a little sweet.
I love baklava. It just like melts in your mouth. It's just so flaky and delicious. And the surprise jellies inside, you never know what you're going to get. I love the baklava. One of my favorite Greek desserts.
They are delicious, but so sweet.
I love sweet. Give me all the baklavas.
A lot of people
all the
do.
baklavas. For Judah Wickower, I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us.